this video, I'm going to show you how to extend backgrounds in Photoshop. What's up YouTube, and welcome back to my channel. On this channel we talk about everything to do with food photography, so click subscribe if that would interest you. In this video I'm going to be going through 3 ways that I extend my backgrounds in Photoshop. So if you watched last week's video behind the scenes of this pancake shoot, you'll know that I'd said that I could do with a bit more background. Sometimes this isn't always an issue because there's a few ways that we can sort this out in Photoshop. I'm going to be using one of the images from the pancake shoot to show you exactly how I do it. There's 3 ways that I do it, and each way kind of depends on exactly how messy or easy the background is. I'm just going to jump onto the computer and into Photoshop now, and I'll show you guys how I do it. Okay, so I've got an image open here and there are 2 sides that need adding. I've got 3 different ways to show you how to extend or increase your background size. The first way, really simple, but I'm going to do it to the right side here, and the way we do that one is to make a selection of what you want to become the background. There's a few ways of doing that selection. You could use the quick selection tool, which works something like that. This is a very similar colour, so it doesn't select quite over where I want to be background. So I am going to use the lasso tool. And for this one, I just need to draw around exactly what I want to be background. Obviously going careful around the areas that don't want to be background, and then back up. And here we have our selection. Now to get that to become background, it's super easy, just right click and then fill. This is going to bring up a little pop-up here and just go make sure content aware is selected, and then 100% blend in normal and click OK. And if we deselect, we've got our background. This isn't perfect. If you look down here you can see obviously it's got a bit confused with the Nutella pot, but we just need to fix that up. Quite easy. I just tend to use the patch tool to fix up little things like that. However, we need to make sure that where the backgrounds meet is correct. So to get this background bit correct, I'm just going to drag that out and then select it back onto another bit of background. And then as you see there, nice smooth line where the backgrounds meet. Other things you might need to fix up with the patch tool is because our background has some pattern in it, you might see it look a bit too repetitive. So the way I would fix that is just to sort of use the patch over repetitive areas of background, just randomly, to sort of unrepeat them. The second way to extend a background is probably the easiest. It does work a lot better on more simpler block colour backgrounds. I'm not sure how great it's going to be on this patterned one, but I'll show you it anyway. So the way to do this is to select any background that you want to fill the empty background. Don't get anything in like the pancake or anything like that. And then when you've got it selected, go to Edit, Free Transform or Command T. And what we're going to do here is just stretch out the background. This is stretching the pixels, so it doesn't always work, especially if you've got a lot of pattern in your background, but works really well for plain block coloured backgrounds. I mean, the patterns in this are quite random and just painted on anyway, so it's not really affected it too much. I mean, if you wanted to, again, you can just go in with the patch tool and sort of correct any funny stretched looking areas of texture. The last way I extend my background, and this is the fiddliest way, but it works really well if you're trying to extend a background around something like a hand or a dodgy corner, and that is to kind of manually paint in the background. Here we have a hand, and I am going to clone in the background around the hand. So just literally using the clone tool to pick a part of the background and then paint around the hand. It's important to keep your flow at 100 and your opacity at 100. This is going to make sure it's got nice smooth flow, and you're definitely painting the background. It's not going to be 50% background, 50% whatever's behind the background. But also try to keep your hardness down. This is going to make sure you've got a nice soft join, and if we put the hardness at 100, you'll see it's going to be a bit pixely. Nice soft brush for a nice smooth edge and paint around the hand. This is the tedious bit, so I'm just going to go ahead, speed this up, and I'll show you when it's done. this one, when you're picking your background, make sure to pick a colour similar to what would have been there. So if it's on a really dark side of the image or in a shadow, try to get it in the shadow or a dark side of an image instead of taking a really bright area and cloning it onto a really dark area. That's just going to make it look a bit mishmash and it's not going to look right at all. And cloning in, don't forget to watch what your brush is cloning in. I just started to clone some of the pan in there, so I had to reselect where I was cloning from. So I'm just going to whiz through this and get all of this done, and then I'll show you how it looks. So here we're back to the last bit, and we're back to an odd kind of angle. So the way I make sure I get the right selection here is I'll select right in the middle of the line, and you want to make sure your line, I'm just going to point at my screen then, make sure your line joins up with the existing line. So there, so that we've got a nice straight line. Obviously I've selected a particular pattern there and it looks like it's repeating, so just select that pattern. Patch tool, heal, there we go. And again, so here where we stretch the background, we've got that kind of dead straight line. Doesn't look real, so we're just going to correct that. Select the whole patch. Up we go. Boom! And just go through, and with that patch tool, just sort of select any areas that just don't look right. Just fix it. And we're done. So there is our image. All sides are covered with background, and this can work on any sort of background. The more complex it is, obviously the harder it's going to be to copy over. The simpler it is, the easier it's going to be to copy over, but it is doable. Even if you've got trees or pattern in the background, it can be done. It's just going to take a little bit longer to fiddle and kind of manually paint in that background with the clone tool and things like that. So that is exactly how I extend my backgrounds in Photoshop, making backgrounds absolutely limitless. I hope you found this video useful, guys. If there's a way that you extend your backgrounds, let me know and I'll definitely give it a try. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Bye!